Well, welcome back to Return to Yehovah. It was sometime this morning. I was talking to my friend Tony, and we were discussing Passover and events leading up to that about Yeshua and all. And he said something. Let me think exactly what it was, but basically he was saying, like, why did they have to kill him? At the feast, on the feast day, or on the day, that begins the whole Passover unleavened bread thing, feast. He said it's supposed to be a happy, joyous time and all that stuff. And it made me think of a song that and video that we listened to at a Passover celebration I went to last night. I was with the gang from Moed Ministries International, if you want to check them out. I'll try to remember to put a link down below, but those are friends of mine, and they do a lot of good teaching stuff. Anyhow, so they had a Seder, and I got to go to that, and that was really fun. But we sang along with a music video from Watch the Lamb by Ray Boltz. It's been around a while, but anyhow, and in that song, one of the things that is said is, why on this day were men condemned to die? And of course, other than it was the plan of God for 1,500 years that it was going to play out on that day. But we were talking about, Tony and I were talking this morning about these evil religious leaders, plotting to kill him and all that. And of course, it dawned on me, they had wanted to kill him a couple different times. I didn't have a chance to get the exact passages, but if you look in John chapter 10, near the end, from like 22 and on, now, I take that time to be still continuing from the Feast of Sukkot. Some people think it means, Hanukkah, which we could argue that back and forth, and I don't care to. It could go either way. I don't really care. But the point is, Yeshua was there still in Jerusalem, and he's, walking around the temple, and he's confronted again by scribes or Pharisees or whatever. And, it said at one point they took up stones to stone him. And, that's when you have to laugh sometimes, the way he just threw things back at them. He's like, so which good work are you stoning me for? That kind of thing. And they're like, they got all, of course, ticked off. And they said, no, it's because you, being a man, made yourself equal with God or whatever. And anyhow, I'm just trying to say there was that time. And then, I think it's 6 verses later, you can look it up, later in John 10, they tried to grab him again to take him and kill him. But he just kind of, walked away, or however he got away. We don't really know. And, I was saying to my friend today, I'm pretty sure Yeshua wasn't running in fear, but in his mind, he probably understood, I am not supposed to die at tabernacles or at this late time in the year, whichever holiday or holy day it might have been, or season. That was not the plan, so he knew he had to move on or move away from there. And then it sounds like he stayed away for a while. Anyhow, so that's at least 2 times within a few verses where they tried to grab him or wanted to kill him, and he managed to avoid that. But so back to the point of why did they finally decide to do it at Passover or whatever, and we were talking about it, and I thought, well, okay, they wanted to enjoy the feast time, as far as eating the feast. And I mean, think about how rotten it is to be the religious leaders. Now, we all know from history and many accounts, like Josephus and others, I think, that this was a corrupt illegitimate priesthood. I don't mean everybody that was a priest, and it definitely doesn't mean every Jewish person there was corrupt or evil. Of course not, even though some groups say that kind of junk, But I'm saying that the leadership and the, whether it was the Sanhedrin or what exactly, whoever made up the group that was really kind of running things, they were the evil ones or had the evil intentions. And at first I was thinking, they wanted to ruin the Passover for Yeshua and his disciples. They were going to, take him and, try him and then kill him. But then I thought, no, it's more than that. They didn't just want to ruin his holiday, but they wanted to make sure he wasn't going to be doing anything more, coming into the temple, preaching to people or telling them how bad, we, the Sanhedrin or the Pharisees are, and exposing us more and more. And, he might heal somebody. He might do some other miracles and more people will believe him. I mean, by John 10, later, or the middle of John 10, they already were talking about the whole world has gone after him, And then if you fast forward to a few days or 5 or whatever days before, when he made his triumphal entry into Jerusalem, they're seeing all the people putting palm branches down and laying their cloaks on the ground for him as he's walking, and blessed is he who comes in the name of Yehovah and stuff like that. And they were just beside themselves, these religious leaders, and so somewhere in their little secret meetings or whatever, they had decided, we've got to make sure he doesn't do anything more, especially going into the feast days. So they, in their minds, now it's not documented, but it would make sense, they decided we got to get rid of this guy before the feast time starts, because of course they'd be afraid of all the people attacking him maybe if they tried to grab him in the middle of the feast, and I think it even says that in one or more of the Gospels. But so this is not a huge revelation, and I'm not considering it a teaching by any means. It was just a conversation my friend and I had, and it was just kind of interesting. I don't know, maybe it had more impact when the two of us were discussing it, but just a different little perspective on what might have been going on with Yeshua at that time, because people do wonder why then, other than it was the plan of God. And so in order to get him to that point, and my friend Tony, who by the way has a channel called Torah Project, I'll try to link that below too, but he was saying, and it was funny because he was saying, what kicked it off for them when he was in Jerusalem and everything, and probably finally was the last straw for the Pharisees, and we both thought of the same thing at the same time, and it was when he made a whip of cords or whatever and went through and cleansed the temple. Now we know he did it at least once before around Passover time, but this time here it is leading up to Passover, and he's getting rid of the animals they were selling and kicking over their tables again or whatever. So it was funny that we both thought the same thing, and but that was probably like, this is it, we have got to get rid of this guy, and I mean, how funny that in their anger and hatred for Yeshua and jealousy of him and whatever else you want to call it, even though they should have, if they were really concerned about God and his ways, they should have been just examining, is he the one? Is he the Messiah we've been waiting for? Instead they're like, oh no, he's done too much good, healing all kinds of people, people that have been lame or blind or crippled for more than 30 years, all these kind of things. And instead of seeing all that good, as we all have considered, he or they just couldn't deal with it, for multiple reasons. But anyhow, just some thoughts, something to think about as we're at, or going into the whole Passover unleavened bread thing. And I'm going to close it for now. It's another beautiful rainy day outside the Seattle-Tacoma area, but Yehovah bless you and keep you, and I hope you have a wonderful and blessed Passover wherever you are and whenever you keep it, okay?